Okay, I'm trying to get on. Sorry that I'm a bit late this morning. I just want to see if anyone's live here on Instagram as well. Some technical difficulties this morning. Hi, I'm going to be on, if you're watching this on Instagram, I'm going to be live on YouTube. So go to the link that's in my bio, click on the bit.ly link, and you'll see me there, okay? And then I have to edit this part out of the videos that actually get uploaded to YouTube, but anyhow. So yeah, if you're joining on Instagram, please get off Instagram, go to the bio, and there's a link there that will take you to the live feed for the YouTube live session. And if you're coming in on YouTube live, if you don't mind just saying hello so I know who's here. Hey Rita, I'm on YouTube. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties getting started. But anyhow, YouTube's up and running. I'm just going to wait a few minutes. Sorry I'm a touch late this morning. It was a wee bit difficult. Hey, Rita. Hey, Yvette. I'm not on Instagram. I'm going to be on YouTube. So if you go to the link on Instagram, please check in. Good morning, Christopher. Oh, it's Vivian. Okay. You're using your husband's laptop to watch. That's pretty awesome. Okay. I'm just seeing some people on Instagram joining, and I'm just letting you know that I'm going to be shutting Instagram down in a couple of minutes, that I'm going on YouTube Live, and the link for the YouTube Live session is in the bio in Instagram. So just go to the bio. You can get off Instagram now, go to the bit.ly link, and then see me here. Matthew, oh my goodness, Matthew Cohen, how are you? Matthew, I'm going to be getting off of Instagram and going onto YouTube. There's the link in my bio. If you could just go to that link, please, and then you can join me here on YouTube Live. Same thing with Ho. We're going to be doing that, okay? I wish we could do a bit more Q&A. Hi, Keish90. I'm going to be live on YouTube, so if you can please switch off of Instagram, go to the link that's in the Instagram bio, and I'll see you there. So I have Vivian and Rita. Who else is joining me on YouTube? Just quickly so I can get a sense of who's joining us right now. I wonder if Matthew's going to be joining us. Okay, I can end the session here. All righty. Okay. I think I have Laura May. Is Matthew Cohen's there? I've actually been thinking about Matthew for a while. Matthew was dealing with a hip impingement many years ago, and I just, at the time, didn't have the tools to deal with it. Now that I have a few more because I've been dealing with hip impingements myself, I just want to check in with Matt to see how he's doing and see if I can help him still. Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we start about, so we're just doing a 60-minute flow, and we're going to focus on some back bends. So I will take some pauses to break things down. And if you have a question, please send it and I'll address it. I'm just going to say a few things about back bends. And when I say back bend, I like to think of front stretch versus back bend, because the idea of back bend implies that you're crunching the lower spine, and that's something we want to avoid. There's this discussion, and I don't know why it's even a discussion, but there's a discussion in the yoga community about, should you engage the glutes or not engage the glutes when you're doing a back bend? And here's how I'm going to illustrate my point to you. Often in downward dog, I'll cue people to roll the armpits in towards each other so the shoulder blades come away from the spine. Try doing a back bend and squeeze your shoulder blades together, and you'll notice that it seizes on the thoracic vertebrae. It's not a smart thing to do. It's going to quickly lead to injury. Similarly with the glutes, the shoulders are one girdle, and you have shoulder blades, and then the pelvis is another girdle, and then you have pelvic bones. And the pelvic bones have some swivel, just like the shoulder blades do. You need to swivel the pelvic bones down, but if you engage the glutes, the pelvis is going to move inwards towards the sacrum, and then that's just going to lead to injury at some point in your lumbar vertebrae. So there's a time and place to engage your glutes. I'm not saying disengage them altogether, never use them. No, there's a reason why you have massive layers of muscle tissue there. Thanks, Rita. So when we're doing things like balancing, like if you're doing a warrior 3 pose or Ardha Chandrasana, you have to engage your glutes. You need to. That's what they're there for. But when you're doing a back bend, you need to engage the eccentric contraction. So you are contracting the front line of the body, even though you're stretching the front line of the body. Because if you dump all into the lower back, it's going to compress into your lumbar vertebrae. And no one needs that kind of pressure. So with that being said, I think we can get started. Okay. Just want to see here for, can we see the mat and all that fun stuff? Okay. And I hope I have enough. This works. No, I don't have enough juice in the speaker. Okay. So we're going to kill that now. Alrighty. Oh, it's Gabriella. How you doing? Happy belated birthday, Gabriella. Thanks for joining us. Okay. So I was just talking about the front line of the body, and when you engage your bandha 2-step, step 1, step 2, that's half the battle. So this stays engaged in a back bend. Then you have to lift your rib cage up away from the hips so that this area here in the lower spine is getting decompressed. That's the point. As you move in towards your back bend, will your lumbar vertebrae bend a bit? Yes, it will. That's inevitable. And you want to focus on putting the stretch, though, here in the front of the hip flexors. And eventually it's going to go here in the serratus, the whole shoulder rotator cuff. This has to open up, and this has to open up to make the back bends work. I'll probably do a subsequent class or a workshop on back bends with a few props. I just recently ordered a few props, so hopefully they come in a reasonable amount of time where I can demonstrate stuff that you can use at home. And we'll go from there. So let's just come to the front of the mat. Press the feet down, lift up your thighs. Engage your bandha 2-step. Belly in, lift the pelvic floor. Now breathe. And as you keep your bandha 2-step, lift your rib cage away from the hips, nice and long. Shoulder blades go down the back and forward into the chest. Keep breathing. And we'll begin. Inhale. Bring your arms up. Gaze to your thumbs. Exhale and fold. Bring the hands down beside your feet. Inhale. Lengthen your head up. Hold the belly in. Exhale. Push into your hands. Step or jump back. You can hold plank. Maybe lower into chaturanga. Inhale. Upward dog. Strong legs. Heavy hips. Arms back. Rib cage forward. Exhale. Lift your rib cage up. Shift it back. Downward dog. And we'll hold here for 5. 1. Spread your fingers, spread the toes. Try to make the arms and legs a little bit longer. 2. Lift your rib cage up and shift it back towards the hips, sending weight towards your heels. 3. Push your heels down, lengthen your big toes forward. Lengthen your index fingers forward. 4. And rotate the armpits in towards each other. 5, as you exhale, gaze forward. Inhale, bend the knees, step or hop. Lengthen your head up. Keep your gaze up. Exhale and fold, heavy rib cage, and relax your lower back. Inhale, push into your feet. Come all the way up. Reach away from strong legs. Exhale, Samasthiti. We'll do that again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale and fold, relax your lower back. We're going to add a variation here. Inhale, lengthen your head up, holding your belly in. Exhale, push into your hands. Step or jump back again. You can hold plank or lower onto your knees or lower down into chaturanga. Inhale and keep your bandha 2-step as you move into upward dog. It's tricky. Exhale, lead with your belly as you move into downward dog. If you take a couple of extra breaths in upward dog, I'm still your friend. Totally fine. Hold there and breathe. 1. Long arms and legs again right away, going right into the stretch. 2. Hold the belly in, lifting your pelvic floor. It's like the tail is curling towards the chest. 3. Rotate the armpits in towards each other so the shoulder blades are moving away from the spine. That gives you room to lengthen your thoracic vertebrae. 4. And 5. Gaze forward. I lied about the variation. Bend the knees, step or jump forward, lengthen your head up. Exhale and fold, relax your lower back. Inhale, push into your feet, come all the way up, reach away from strong legs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Once more, this time with the variation. Inhale, arms up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, lengthen your head up. Exhale, step or jump back and lower down. Keep your core engaged. Inhaling, upward dog. Keep the tail pulling forward. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Turn your left foot into a 45-degree angle. Step it forward a few inches. Inhale your right leg up and bend the knee out to the side. Hold there. And that's 1. So we're stretching the front of the right hip flexor. You have the option of wrapping with your left hand to grab your right foot. 2, keep the gaze towards your left foot to help you balance. 3, if you're binding the foot, lead the foot up to the ceiling. It comes deeper. 4. 5, exhale, release your right foot down. Turn the right foot into a 45-degree angle. Lift your left leg up and bend the knee out to the side. And we can hold here. 1. So we're focusing on stretching the front of the left hip flexor. Maybe wrap around with the right hand to bind the foot. Oops. 2, keep the gaze towards your right foot to help you balance. 3, try to make your arms longer so you're shifting more weight towards your back foot. Kick the foot up to the ceiling. 4. And 5, bring your right hand down. We'll lower down to chaturanga again. Keep your front line engaged. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Hold here, take child's pose if you need for 5 breaths. That's 1. Slow down your inhales. Control your exhales. 2, hold the belly in. Try to make the arms and legs as long as you can. Make them straighter. 3, push your heels down. Lengthen your big toes forward. Keep breathing. 4. 5, as you exhale, gaze forward. Inhale, bend the knees, step or hop. Lengthen your head up. Exhale and fold. Relax your lower back. Heavy rib cage. Inhale, push into your feet. Come all the way up. Reach away from strong legs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Surya Namaskar B. Inhale. Bend your knees, tail forward. Keep your core engaged as you bring your arms up. Exhale and fold. Relax your lower back. Heavy ribs. Inhale, lengthen your head up. Hold the belly in. Exhale, push into your hands. Step or jump back. Again, you can hold plank. Keep this core contained as you lower down. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Turn the left foot into a 45-degree angle. Step the right foot forward between the hands. Stay low. Now, here's the tricky part. You don't want to bend in your lower back. You want to hinge from your pelvis. So contain your front line of energy, lifting your pelvic floor. Use your hands to help you tilt your pelvis up. Bend the front knee, strengthen your back leg, tilt the pelvis up, and repeat. Bend the front knee, strengthen the back leg, lift your pelvis up. So we're not flaring out. This is engaged the whole time. And the more you bend the front knee, the more the stretch comes to that hip flexor. I know we're holding. Just keep breathing. And then inhale, bring your arms up as high as you can. Bend the front knee more. On your next exhale, bring your hands down. Step back and lower. Inhaling, upward dog. Notice the difference between your hip flexors. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Other side. Turn right. Step left. Now, stay low. Don't come up. Try to bend your front knee so you're bringing the knee just above the ankle. Hands on your pelvis. Tilt the pelvis up. Don't bend your back. Contain this front line. Bandha 2-step. Belly in. Lift your pelvic floor. Bend the front knee. Strengthen your back leg. Let's do that again. Tilt your pelvis. Use your hands to help you. Bend the front knee more. Lift your pelvic floor. And now start to reach your hands up. Bend your front knee more. Hands higher. Tail lower. Exhale. On your next exhale, bring your hands down and step back lower. Inhaling up, bird dog. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Sound your breath. 1, and it's okay if you take a break. I'm still your friend. Just breathe. 2, slow down the inhales. Control the exhales. Try to make your arms and legs straighter. 3, it doesn't matter how deep you go. It matters how deep you breathe. 4, 5, as you exhale, gaze forward. Inhale, bend the knees, step or hop. Lengthen your head up. Hold the belly in. Exhale and fold. Relax your lower back, heavy rib cage. Inhale, bend your knees, tail forward, arms up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Once more with a variation, we just want to focus on opening up the hip flexors. Inhale, bend your knees again, tail forward, arms up. Exhale and fold. Relax your lower back again. Inhale, lengthen your head up, hold the belly in. Exhale, push into your hands, step or jump back. Again, you can hold plank or lower chaturanga. Inhaling upward dog. Exhale, lead with the belly, downward dog. This time you want to inhale, step your right foot forward between the hands. Come down onto the left knee. Point the back foot, so you're in the top of the foot. Bring the hands here on your right knee. And this is a pose. Just like we did in Warrior, you want to use your hands to tilt your pelvis up. So you're not doing this. You're doing this. This is engaged. So as you bend this front knee, we're getting a stretch here. Try to draw your right hip back and left hip forward so you're squaring the hips towards the front. You can hold here. This is a pose. If you want, you can bring your arms up and start to reach them back. Hold there. 1, push into the top of the back foot to strengthen your back leg. So it's like you're trying to lift the back knee, but you don't actually lift it. 2, draw your tail forward. Lift your rib cage up and back like you're going over a high bar. 3, if your arms are extended, try to touch your fingertips to the wall behind you. Gets interesting. 4, tail draws forward. You're still lifting your pelvic floor. And 5, exhale, bring your hands down. Turn the back foot onto a 45-degree angle. Start to work your front leg straight. It doesn't have to be straight. You want to find the action of straightening. Breathe. 1, so favor the inner edge of your front foot. Work the front leg longer. Doesn't have to be straight. It's the action of straightening. 2, and as you draw your right hip back, curl the left hip forward so the hips are squaring to the front of the mat. 3, you're still engaging your Bandha two-step. Belly in, lift your pelvic floor, and favor your left ribs towards your right thigh. 4. And 5, push into your hands, drag your right foot back, and from here, lower down. Again, you want to keep this core contained. Inhale, upward dog, tail forward. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog, and other side. Inhale, step your left foot forward between the hands, come down to your right knee. Point the back foot so you're in the top of the foot. As you come up, you're hinging from the pelvis. You're not bending in your lower back. You want to avoid that as much as possible so this front line is contained. Again, hands can come on your left knee, and you just work the arms straight. That's one version. Or you work the arms up and back. Same karmic points. Breathe. 1, again, push to the top of your back foot as if you're going to straighten the back leg, but don't actually do it. 2, and then draw your left hip back, curl the right hip forward, lift your pelvic floor, so engaging your Bandha two-step. 3, lift your rib cage up and back like it's going over a high bar. Try to touch the fingertips to the wall behind you. 4. And 5, exhale, bring the hands down. Turn the back foot onto a 45-degree angle. Start to work your front leg straight. It doesn't have to come straight. You just work it there. Breathe. 1, so find your tension point and breathe. Maybe you go a bit deeper, maybe you stay there. It doesn't matter, just breathe. 2, try to draw the left hip back, curl the right hip forward, squaring your hips more, breathe. 3, hold the belly in, lifting your bandhas. Favor the right ribs towards your left leg more. 4. And 5, push to your hands, bring your left foot back, lower down, chaturanga. Inhaling upward dog. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Hold here for 5. If you need child's pose, go ahead, breathe. 1, slow down the inhale. Control the exhale. 2, try to work your arms and legs a little bit straighter. 3, reaching your heels down, lengthening your big toes forward. Rotate the armpits in towards each other. 4. And 5. Exhale, gaze forward. Inhale, bend the knees. Step or hop forward. Lengthen your head up. Exhale and fold. Relax your lower back. Inhale, bend your knees. Tail forward, arms up. And exhale, Samasthiti. Separate your feet hip distance for Padangusthasana. Inhale, catch your big toes. Lengthen your head up. Exhale and fold. Totally fine to bend your knees. You work them straight. Breathe, and you stop at your tension point and breathe. 1, lean your hips forward. Press the feet down. Try to work the legs straighter. 2, so the feet press down. Your belly button lifts up. That's part of the straightening action. 3, bend the elbows. Bring the shoulders away from your ears. So we're not hunching over here. We're making space over here. 4, try to pull the toes off. You come a little bit deeper still. 5, inhale, lengthen your head up. Exhale, stay there and do nothing. On your next inhale, step in the palms, the soles of the feet, toes touching your wrists. And exhale, fold. Hold here, Padahastasana. 1, so again, lean your hips forward, press the feet into the hands, and work the legs straighter if you can. 2, imagine a string in the belly button lifting up to the ceiling. Let your rib cage be heavy now as it slides down the legs. 3, bend your elbows, bring the shoulders away from the ears. 4, 5, inhale, lengthen your head up. Exhale, work your way back up into standing. Samasthiti. Inhale, we're going to take Trikonasana. I'm going to step my left foot back. If you want to step your right foot back, that's fine. So your right foot's pointing forward, turn your left toes in. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, shift your hips towards the left as you reach towards the right. Right hand can come down on the shin, the ankle, or the big toe, or the foot. Left hand can stay on the hip or come up towards the ceiling and breathe. Oh, the shoulder. It's so much fun. That's 1. Favor the inner edge of the front foot. Work the front leg longer. It doesn't have to be straight. 2, strengthen your back leg. Find your Bandha two-step. Belly and lift your pelvic floor. Now reach your rib cage towards the right. 3, push your top hand forward as if it were pushing into a wall. Now twist up with that strength. It's going to connect to your core. 4. And 5, look down. We're going to do Ardha Chandrasana so that we can actually engage our glute. It's not a bad thing. Lean your weight forward, push into your, or step your right hand forward, lift your left leg up. And so you want that left glute to be working. You can hold here, maybe lift up your left hand. That's 1. Balance first. You don't have to look up, just balance. 2, really strengthen your back leg. Try to lift the back leg a bit higher. 3, as you lift your back leg higher, Bandha two-step, belly and lift your pelvic floor, lengthen your rib cage. 4. And 5, exhale, look down, drop your left foot, inhale up. Pivot the feet to the other side of the mat, arms up. Exhale, shift the hips towards the right. Bring your left hand down on the shin, the ankle, or the foot. I actually prefer the foot over the toe. Right hand can stay on the hip or reach your right hand up. Hold here. 1, so you still favor the inner edge of your front foot, working your front leg longer. 2, strong back leg, Bandha two-step. Belly in, lift your pelvic floor. Now lengthen. 3, pushing your top hand forward, twist your chest up towards the top hand. 4. And 5, exhale, look down, right hand on the hip. Inhale, bring your weight forward. Left hand forward, lift up your right leg. So engaging that right glute, hold here. 1, strong standing leg, lift your right leg higher. 2, you totally have the option of lifting up your right hand, maybe gaze up towards the hand. It's hard to balance though. 3, find your Bandha two-step, belly and lift your pelvic floor. Now lengthen your rib cage forward. 4. And 5, exhale, bring your right foot down. Inhale up, we're going to pivot towards the right of the mat. Right hand on your hip, left hand up. Exhale, draw your right hip back, reach your left hand forward. Hand comes down the inside edge on top of the foot or outside edge of the foot. If you have a block or a book, go ahead. There is no loss of karmic points, I promise. I checked. Breathe. Maybe reach your right hand up. 1, so you still favor the inner edge of your front foot, work the front leg longer. 2, and as you draw your right hip back, lengthen your left rib cage forward. That's where the twist comes. 3, push your top hand forward, twist your chest up more. 4. And 5, exhale, look down. Inhale up, we'll pivot the feet towards the left side of the mat, left hand on the hip, right hand up. Exhale, pull your left hip back, reach your right hand forward, and then bring it down. Inside edge on top or outside edge. Use a book, use a block, doesn't matter. Maybe release your left hand up and hold. Oof. 1, so you're still favoring the inner edge of your left foot, work your left leg longer. 2, and as you draw your left hip back, lengthen your right rib cage forward. This is where your twist will deepen. 3, maybe push your top hand forward, twist your chest up towards the top hand. 4, 5, exhale, look down, inhale coming up. And we'll take a bit of a wider stance for Parsvakonasana. Moving towards the right, you want the hips to be parallel to the long side of the mat as you bend your right knee. Your right elbow can come onto the knee, left arm above the left ear, that's one version, or right hand down the outside edge. Hold there. 1, so the focus of this pose is to rotate your chest up to the ceiling as much as possible. Try to keep your bandhas engaged. 2, strong back leg, opening up the knees towards the wall behind you, so you stretch across the front of the pelvis. 3, pinky side of your left hand is chopping down. As you chop it down, twist up, accessing your core strength to help you twist. 4, and 5, exhale, look down, inhale, come up. We'll pivot the feet towards the left. And exhale, bending your left knee. Left. You can use a block, it's totally fine, and breathe. 1, opening up the knees towards the wall behind you. 2, pinky side of your right hand is chopping down, and you twist up with that strength. 3, and the focus is trying to get your rib cage up to the ceiling as much as you can, and breathe. 4, 5, inhale coming up. We're gonna bring our feet inwards. Take a bit of a narrower stance, point your feet in, hands on your hips, inhale your chest up. Exhale and fold, hands down between your feet, shoulder distance. Inhale, lengthen your head up, hold the belly in. Exhale, hinge from your pelvis, allowing your rib cage to lengthen to the floor. Hold here. That's 1. Weight forward, press your feet down, work the legs longer. 2, imagine a string in the belly button lifting up, let your rib cage be heavy, it lengthens down. 3, you want to squeeze your elbows in towards each other. It's just like rotating the armpits in towards each other in downward dog. It's the same action. 4, and 5, inhale, lengthen your head up. Exhale, we'll just step the hands forward, start to walk your feet out to the side into a wide-legged splits. And you can totally stay here on your hands. Maybe lower down into your elbows. Maybe lower down into your chest. I don't hate you if you can do that. I'm spiritually advanced. It's totally fine. Hold here and breathe. 1, flex your feet so the soles of your feet are facing either wall. 2, try to shift your hips back. Now lengthen your chest forward. 3, and engage your bandhas. Belly in, lift the pelvic floor towards your rib cage. Keep lengthening your chin and chest forward. 4, and 5. Inhale, we'll bring the legs closer together again into the original position. And exhale, fold. Bring the hands behind your back and release your fingers. And you can stay here. Maybe release the hands down. For C version, hold here. 1, and it's totally fine to roll out your shoulders here. 2, here you want the shoulders to roll forward. 3, sound your breath, keep your bandhas engaged. 4, and 5, inhale, work your way all the way back up. And exhale, let's come back to the front. We're we'll do Tita Hasta Padangusthasana. Bring the left hand on your hip. And inhale, you can lift up the right knee, that's a pose. Or catch the big toe, that's a pose. Or work your legs straight, that's also a pose. Breathe. 1, if your knee is bent, lead the heel forward, focus on balance. 2, so you're lifting your pelvic floor, belly in, this whole bandhas area is engaged. 3, if your leg is straight, point the foot, tighten the grip, and bend your elbow. Drop the right hip, your foot will come higher. 4, and 5, inhale your head up, and exhale the leg or the knee out to the side. Totally fine to bend your knee, gaze towards the left. 1, so the weight is moving in this direction, and you draw it down into your left foot. 2, find your bandhas, belly in, lift your pelvic floor, and grow tall. 3, if your leg is straight, try to bend the elbow, use your bicep a bit. 4, and 5, inhale your leg into center. Exhale, if you can, fold chin to your shin, and then inhale, release the foot. Hold here. 1, it's okay to support the leg with your hands or keep the hands on your hips. 2, keep your bottomless engaged, lifting your pelvic floor. Draw the leg into the hip socket. 3, if you really want to have fun, lift your hands up. It gets so interesting there. 4, and 5, we'll kick the leg back to counter pose. So we just did a strong flexion of the hip flexor. I want to counter that to release this muscle tissue. Just if you stay here, that's fine. Or if you need to move against a wall, that's fine. Maybe start to fold forward. It doesn't matter. Breathe. Doesn't matter how deep you go. That's 1. Send the breath to the front of your right hip flexor. 2, it doesn't matter how deep you go. It matters how deep you breathe. 3, and it doesn't matter if you're off my count. Just stay with your breath. 4, and 5. Inhale, coming all the way back up, and exhale, release, shake it out. Other side, right hand on the hip. Inhale, lift up your left knee, or big toe, or leg straight up, and hold. 1, whoops. If your knee is bent, lead the heel forward. 2, if the leg is straight, point the foot, tighten the grip, and bend the elbow. 3, keep your bundus engaged, maybe left shoulder back and right shoulder forward. 4, and 5, inhale your head up, exhale the leg or the knee out to the side, gaze towards the right. This is where the weight goes. 1, the weight is moving towards the right and down into your right foot. 2, keep your bundus engaged. 3, if your leg is straight, bend the elbow to lift the leg higher. Maybe rotate your heel forward. 4, and 5, inhale your leg back into center. If you can, go ahead, exhale and fold. And then inhale, release the foot. Hands on your hips and hold. 1, if you can, point the foot but flex the big toe. 2, and draw the leg into the hip socket against the strength of your right leg. 3, holding in your bundus, grow tall, maybe lift your hands. That's up to you. 4, and 5, kick your leg back. We're going to counter that again. And again, you can just hold here, maybe fold forward. 1, breathe. Focus on sending the breath here to the front of the left hip flexor. 2, if you are binding, kick the foot into the hand, lead the foot up, not out to the side. 3, balance and breathe. 4, and 5. Okay, we'll release that, shake it out. And we'll come back to the front of the mat. We're just going to do, we'll do some warriors and then move into our seated poses. And then we're going to get into our back bends. So coming back to the front, inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale and fold, relax your lower back. Inhale, lengthen your head up, hold the belly in. Exhale, push into your hands, step or jump back. Again, you can hold here in plank or lower into chaturanga. Inhaling upward dog. Exhale, lead with your belly downward dog. Turn the left foot into a 45, step your right foot forward. Bend the knee a lot, stay low, just like we did before. When you come up, hinge from your pelvis. Use your hands to encourage the pelvis to tilt up. Bend the front knee, strengthen your back leg, tilt the pelvis up. Bend the front knee, strengthen your back leg, tilt your pelvis up. You can even stay here. If you want, bring the hands behind the head, interlace your fingers. Squeeze the elbows in, push your head back. As you push the head back, lengthen your sternum up. So you're using the muscles along your thoracic vertebrae. Maybe release your hands up and hold. 1, find your bundus. Lift your pelvic floor. Keep your belly in. Bend the front knee more. 2, drawing your right hip back and left hip forward. Shoulder blades are going down the back. 3, so you don't have to bring the shoulders higher, just the hands higher, but the shoulders pull down. Bend the front knee again. 4, and 5. Inhale, straighten your right leg. We're just going to pivot towards the back and bend your left knee. And we'll start to square the hips. If you have to use the hands again to help you adjust the hips, go ahead. Tilting your pelvis up so the stretch focus is here on the front of the right hip flexor. Bend the front knee, lift your pelvic floor, bend the front knee again. Lift the pelvic floor, square, lift the pelvic floor again. If you want to take the hands behind the head, squeeze your elbows in, push your head back, lengthen your chest up. You can stay here or release your hands up. 1, strong back leg, lift your pelvic floor again. 2, left hip back, right hip forward, lift your pelvic floor again. 3, chop the arms forward to help you contain your ribcage back, tail forward. 4, shoulder blades go down away from the ears. And 5, inhale, we'll open up into warrior 2 position. Take a wider stance, bend the front knee, but don't let the weight fall towards your back leg. Pull it back towards your back leg. 1, lift your pelvic floor, belly in. So you need that. Breathe up here. 2, so you're holding Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Breathe up here into the chest. 3, if you want to find your shoulder blades, turn your palms up. Keep the shoulder blades in place. Now bring your palms down. That's 4. And 5, straighten your left leg, pivot the feet towards the front. And exhale, bend your right knee. As you bend the right knee, shift the hips into this direction. Hold there. 1, again, lifting your pelvic floor, holding your bandhas in. Now grow tall. 2, bend the front knee more. Open up the knees towards the wall behind you. Keep this front line engaged. 3, if you want to find your shoulder blades, again, go ahead. Palms up, shoulder blades in place, palms down. 4. And 5, exhale, bring the hands down. And we'll step your right foot back. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Gaze forward, bend the knees. We're going to come forward to a seated position from here. We're not going to spend too much time on our seat. Keep the legs straight. And it's okay if your feet are hip distance. Hands beside you, grow tall, hold here and breathe. 1, the legs draw into the hip sockets. You go tall with that energy. 2, push into the hands. Bring the shoulder blades down the back and push them forward into the chest. So you're opening up the upper lungs. 3, belly in, lift your pelvic floor. Bandha 2 up every time. Keep growing tall. 4. And 5. Inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, don't drop. Lengthen forward. Lengthen forward. You can take a few breaths here. That's okay. Lengthen forward. Strong legs, lengthen forward. And go ahead, grab onto your feet. If you have to bend your knees, go ahead. Totally fine. Hold here. 1. So if you're bending your knees, lengthen your rib cage along the legs as much as you can. So you're lengthening the lower back. That's the point. 2. And as you lengthen your chest, maybe lead the heels forward just an inch or 2. You don't have to go all the way. 3, either version, you're bending the elbows, draw the shoulders back as you pull your chest forward. 4. And 5, inhale your head up. Exhale the hands back behind you 6 inches. Fingertips point forward. Roll your shoulders forward and lift your chest up. Hold the belly in. Hold your bandhas. Inhale. Heels down. Lift your hips up. Drop the head back. 1. Roll your shoulders forward, lifting your chest more. 2. Shifting more weight to the feet. Bring your hips higher. 3. Bandha 2-step. Belly in. Lift up your pelvic floor. 4. And 5. And lower down. And you can take a break here or go ahead and take a vinyasa. Just roll over your shins. Push into your hands. Step or jump back. Lower chaturanga. Inhaling, upward dog. Doesn't matter if you're off my count. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. It matters that you take full breaths. Gaze forward, bend the knees. We'll come forward to a seated position. We're just going to stretch out the hips. Just going to turn to face the computer. Keep the left leg straight. Lift your right leg back. Just going to loosen up the hip. And then after this, we're going to start our back bends. Maybe we'll do one internal rotation. So you can stay here or interlace the fingers around the front of the shin. Roll your right hip forward towards your left foot. Grow tall. Hold here and breathe. 1. Keep the strength in your straight leg. Keep growing tall away from your hips. 2. Belly in. Lift your pelvic floor. Lengthen your rib cage away from the hips. It makes a difference. 3. Flex your right foot. Bring the heel higher and bring the shin closer to your chest. Breathe. 4. Imagine this leg behind your head. That's where it's going to go. And 5, just not today. Okay, we're going to release that. We're just going to switch sides. Straighten your right leg, bend the left leg back, and roll the leg in and around the hip socket. Okay, so you can stay here, or you can interlace the fingers around the front of your left shin. Roll your left hip forward, grow tall, hold here. 1, strengthen your straight leg and grow tall. 2, lift your pelvic floor, hold the belly in, lengthen your rib cage away from your hips. 3, flexing your left foot, bring the heel higher and the shin closer to your chest. 4, imagining this leg behind your head. And 5, okay, and release the pose. And you can take a break there or vinyasa. Inhale, pick up. Exhale, step or jump back and lower. Full inhales, upward dog. We're going to be moving on to our shins. Full exhales, downward dog. And it doesn't matter if you're off my count. Gaze forward, bend the knees, coming forward. So we're here on our shins. You can sit on the heels. That's fine. If you need to sit on a block, if this is hurting your knees, then sit on a block or a series of books or encyclopedias, whatever you need. Otherwise, if you can, separate the feet. I like to remove the calves out from behind the thighs and then lower my hips down between the feet. Hands come in front of the knees. Virasana. I just want some internal rotation to counter the external rotation we just did. Hold here. 1, push your feet down, pushing the tops of the feet down, bring your tail forward. 2, Bandha two-step, belly in, lift your pelvic floor, rib cage lengthens away from your hips, keep breathing. 3, pull the arms back against the knees to help you lift your chest up. So arms back, chest up. 4, push your feet down again, tail forward again. And 5, okay, we're gonna release the hands behind you, about 6 inches to counter, and here's where we're gonna start our back bending sequence. From here, push the feet down, lift your hips up. So that's a pose. You can hold here. Maybe lower down onto your elbows and grab your feet and lift your hips up. Drop your head back. Hold. 1, lengthen your knees forward and down. 2, hold your belly in, lift the pelvic floor, lift the tail up to the ceiling. 3, lifting your rib cage up and back. Keep pushing your feet down as you lift your hips up. 4 and 5. Okay, we'll lower your hips down. Inhale, work your way back up. And you can take a break here or vinyasa. Inhale, pick up, and exhale, step or jump back and lower. Inhaling, upward dog. We're going to be coming onto our stomach soon. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Inhale, we're just going to come into plank. Exhale, lower into chaturanga, and then inhale onto your belly. So we're going to start our whole back bending sequence from here. Locust pose. Bring the hands beside you with the palms pointing up to the ceiling. Now here you want to make sure your glutes are not engaging. We want the quadriceps to engage, the hamstrings to engage, but not the glutes, so that we can allow some swivel room in the pelvis so that we can release any pressure from the lumbar spine. That's the point. So push your hands down, lengthen your chest forward, push your tail down, lengthen your feet forward, hold here. You can totally check your bum if you need. 1, lengthening your feet back, tail down, feet back. 2, if you had a block between your thighs, you would roll it up to the ceiling. 3, hands push down, lengthen your chest forward. 4 and 5. Don't come down, bring the hands by the ribs, squeeze your elbows in. Draw the hands back as you reach your chest forward. 1, your tail is still pulling down, Bandha two-step. 2, belly in, lift your pelvic floor. Now extend the feet back. 3, elbows back, feet back, rib cage forward. 4 and 5, and we'll just lower from there. Curl the feet under. Inhale, coming into upward dog. Notice how it's much easier. Exhale, lead with your belly to downward dog. Gaze forward, inhale, we're coming down into our stomachs again. Exhale, lower into chaturanga, and then inhale onto your belly. I just want to pivot so I can face the camera for a second. I probably should get 2 mats happening here. Okay. So we're going to do Bekasana, frog pose, but we're going to do it one side at a time. One side's always different than the other, and my left shoulder is like giving me grief, so there's no way I'll be able to do it on this side. I'm going to start with the left arm parallel to the front of the mat, give or take, and bend the right leg back. And if you just wrap around and catch the foot, that's already work. Maybe you can draw the foot down to the hip and pivot the hand on the top of the foot so the fingers line up with the toes. Hold here. Try to keep that hip down. We want to lift it up. We want to try to draw the hip down. Hold here. Breathe. 1, draw your hip down, but try to lift your knee up. 2, keep pushing your heel down towards the floor. Hip down, knee up. 3, Bandha two-step, belly in, lift your pelvic floor. 4 and 5. Well done. We'll release that, and then bring the right arm across the front of the mat. Bend your left leg back. I can't do the full version on this side. My shoulder won't allow me. So I'm just going to bring my hand on the foot and draw towards my hip. If you can turn the hand to pivot the fingers in line with the toes, go ahead, hold. 1, drawing your hips down, but lift your knee up. It's not going to lift. You just work it there. 2, try to draw the heel down, hip down, knee up. 3, Bandha two-step, belly and lift your pelvic floor. 4, squeeze your knees in closer towards each other. And 5, okay, release. And you can take a break there or vinyasa. Inhale, right up into upward dog. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. Inhale, coming back into plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. And then inhale, coming back onto your belly for Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. So we've done Urdhva Dhanurasana in the past, where it's a back bend. You're on your back, so you push up. That's Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. This is Dhanurasana, bow. Okay, and you just do what you can. So we're here on the stomach. Bend the knees and catch the feet. And that can be enough work for today for you. Try to bring the knees closer together. Try to bring your feet closer together. Inhale, tail down, hips down, feet up. Hold. 1, try to bring your knees closer together. I know it's hard. 2, kick the feet into the hands towards the edge of the wall behind you. 3, pull your tail down, lengthen your chest forward. 4, Bandha two-step. I know it's hard to find. And 5, and lower. Just release. If you want, you can stay here and rest. Otherwise, go ahead, take a vinyasa. We're just going straight up into upward dog. 1 breath. Exhale, lead with your belly, downward dog. And then coming back into plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale onto your belly. We're Parshva Dhanurasana. So here we're going to roll into either side. If you can't do it, it's okay just to take a break. You can stay here in Dhanurasana. Come in and out of the pose. And here's what it's going to look like. We're going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we're going to lift up, Come onto the right side. Count 5 breaths. Roll up 1. Left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then come back up into the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So, bend your knees, catch your ankles. Squeeze your knees in. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, roll onto your right. Gaze towards the ceiling, over your shoulder. Hold here. 1, the knees want to separate. Try to bring the knees close together. 2, lift your pelvic floor, lift the belly, and kick your feet back now. 3, try to bring your feet together, knees together, tail forward. 4, breathe. And 5, inhale, lift up. 1 breath. Exhale, lower to the left. Look towards the ceiling. 1, try to bring your knees down towards each other. 2, kick the feet back, pull the tail forward. 3, contain your front line. 4, and 5. Inhale, coming back up. 5 breaths. 1, knees closer together. I know it's hard. 2, kick the feet back to the edge of the wall behind you. 3, tail down. Lift your pelvic floor. 4, and 5, and lower, and release. Very good. Hands here by your shoulders. And then inhale. If you can, go ahead. Lift up, upward dog. Exhale, lead the belly, downward dog. And if you want to hold downward dog for a couple breaths, go ahead. Whenever you're ready, go ahead, come forward. We're going to come onto our shins. I'm going to do a little bit of work here. So, we'll start with camel pose, Ustrasana. So you want the tops of the feet on the mat. As you push the feet down, it's like you're trying to straighten the legs, as if you're going to come up into standing. We're not going to actually do it, but that's the action. So as your feet push down, your tail pulls forward, and then you lift your pelvic floor. So this part stays solid now, and if you want, you can use the hands to help you tilt the pelvis forward. This is why here your glutes need to release so that the pelvis can go in a forward motion from the bottom, this way. So then you can lift your ribcage up and back. And it's okay now for this pose if you just keep your hands here, pushing your hips forward as if they were pushing into a wall, and drop your head back. That's work. Maybe bring the hands onto your heels, but see how my hips are dropping back? Try to push the hips forward and hold here. Just do what you can and breathe. 1, push the feet down, drive your tail forward. 2, Bandha two-step, belly and lift your pelvic floor. Now lift your ribcage up and back like it's going over a high bar. 3, feet down, hips forward, lifting your ribcage up. 4, and 5. Okay, coming back up. Now we'll sit back down to the heels. And come into a forward bend. Child's pose. Stay in child's pose for a couple of breaths, just to undo any of the tension. And if you want to release some of the tension in your lower back, try to draw the tail down towards your heels. Okay, this one's going to be fun. Inhale, come back up. This is a preparation for Laghu Vajrasana. We're not even going to do Laghu Vajrasana today, but we're just going to do some preparation work for it. So this is a stretch and a strengthening of the front line of the body. This is the ultimate front stretch. This is our peak pose for today. Press your feet down, drive your tail forward. You want to imagine a straight line or like a board here in front of you. Now we're going to just bend the knees. So I'm not bending my hips. I'm not doing a back bend. I'm staying straight in the upper body. I'm just bending the knees until you reach a tension point. Hold here. That's hard. 1, push your feet down. Find the strength in your legs. 2, button to 2-step. Breathe. 3, it's okay if you come out and come back in. Try again. 4 and 5. Okay, come back up and go ahead. Take a child's pose. We're going to do that once more. So the point here is to find strength while the front line of the body is in an elongated state. And while we do that, we want to strengthen the front line of the body without collapsing the back line of the body. That's the whole point. But stay in your child's pose. Keep drawing your tail down towards the heels. Breathe in the backside of your ribs. Okay, and coming back up. So your feet are about hip distance, knees are hip distance. Just bring the hands here in front so that the arms are straight and you try to keep the body in line with the arms. Push the feet down, draw your tail forward, just bend the knees and hold. 1, push your feet down. 2, find your pelvic floor and your belly in. 3, this whole front line is contracting to protect the back line. 4 and 5, work your way back up. Go ahead, sit back and take a child's pose for a couple of breaths. Breathe and breathe and breathe. It doesn't matter how deep you go in the pose. I don't care if you started early or stopped early. That doesn't matter. It matters how deep you breathe. Stay with your breath. Okay, slowly work your way back up. Just step your hands forward, step your feet back and lower down to chaturanga. Full inhales, upward dog, and take your time. It doesn't matter if you're ever off my count. Full exhales, downward dog. It matters that you're taking full breaths. Gaze forward, bend the knees, coming forward into a seated position. And we'll lie down on your backs and we'll prepare for back bends. Okay. So I'm not going to be demonstrating Urdhva Dhanurasana because my left shoulder is going to be out of whack until I can see my physiotherapist, and I need to wait for a quarantine to be over or a lockdown to be over until I can see him. But in the meantime, I'll demonstrate grabbing onto the ankles, and I'll describe Urdhva Dhanurasana in the second round. So we're doing 3 back bends, even though we did a whole slew of them today. And I hope it helps this whole back bending process. Again, you want to focus on containing the front line here and releasing the glutes so that the hips can slide up in this direction, almost towards the ceiling. So you bring the back bend now here in the upper back. That's the point. Bend the knees. You want to be able to grab the ankles. This is the first one I'll describe, but if you can take Urdhva Dhanurasana, you go ahead right into it. Bend the knees, feet down. Inhale. Push the feet down. Lift your chest up. Tuck the shoulders underneath you. Hold here and breathe. 1, favor the inner edges of the feet. Try to make your legs straighter. 2, if you're grabbing the ankles, resist the arms back. Lift your hips up higher. 3, Bandha 2-step. Belly in. Lift your pelvic floor. Rib cage lengthens away from your hips. 4 and 5, and lower down. Okay, and if you could take Urdhva Dhanurasana, go ahead. Inhale, we're going to come up onto our heads. Squeeze the elbows in. And if you're tight, you can just stay here. Otherwise, go ahead, straighten your arms first, then your legs. Hold here. 1, still favoring the inner edge of your feet. Try to make your legs straighter. 2, Bandha 2-step. Belly and lift your pelvic floor. 3, lengthen the rib cage away from the hips. Try to straighten your arms if you're in Urdhva. 4, so the shoulder blade should be coming down the back here. And 5, okay, lower down. Stand your head if you can if you're in Urdhva. And then last one, inhale, go ahead, lift up, catching your feet or into the full version. That's 1, you're still favoring the inner edges of your feet. 2, if you had a block between your thighs, it would roll down. Now lift your tail up. 3, belly in, lift your pelvic floor. Extend the rib cage away from your hips. 4 and 5, and lower down. Bring the knees in towards your chest. Rock side to side or make little circles on your lower back. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead. We'll rock up to a seated position. And if you want, you can take a vinyasa or just take a forward bend from here. Step or jump back and lower chaturanga. Full inhales, upward dog. Just notice how it feels. If it feels different in the front of the hip flexors. Exhaling, downward dog. Gaze forward, bend the knees coming forward. I like to hug the legs personally, but if you're pretty flexible, go ahead, grab your feet. Take a forward bend, but don't make it too intense. 10 breaths. 1, because we're holding for a longer period, you need less effort and more breath. 2, you're allowing breath and gravity to open up the muscles to help you relax. 3, full forward bend just as a nice counter for all those back bends you did today. 4, 5. Oh, there are my glasses. 6. Stay with your breath. 7. 8. 9. And slowly work your way back up. If you want, you can lie down onto your backs. If you want to take a vinyasa because you're an addict, go ahead. I understand. Inhale, pick up, and exhale, jump back lower. Full inhales, upward dog. Full exhales, downward dog. Otherwise, if you're on your back, just enjoy rest while the fools are doing the work. And when you're ready, come back into your seated position. So we're just going to do a couple of inversions before we start to close. If you're not taking a shoulder stand, just lift your legs up. It's even a good idea to use a wall. Let your legs rest up against the wall, or you can bring your hands here on your legs. Otherwise, whenever you're ready, go ahead. Inhale, lift your legs up, hands up on your lower back for support. Point the feet up and tuck the elbows closer together behind your back. Hold there. 1, favor the feet towards the elbows and the tail toward your face. 2, you're still doing your Bandha two-step. Belly in, lift your pelvic floor. 3, throughout the pose, you can bring the hands lower on your back. It comes a bit deeper. 4, sound the breath through your throat so you squish out your lymph nodes. 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll lower the legs down for Halasana, the plow pose. Your feet don't have to touch down. You can just stay here. Maybe your feet do come down, and maybe you interlace the fingers behind you onto the mat. Hold there. 1, draw the legs into the hip sockets. 2, push to the back of the head, gaze towards the wall behind you. 3, tuck the shoulders underneath you more, it'll come deeper. 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to come out after this. And 8. Separate your hands on the mat. Use the arms like brakes. And lower your hips down. Once your hips come down, bend your knees, grab onto the feet for happy baby pose. Totally fine to rock side to side if you want. Hold here. 1. No extra karmic points. You just breathe. It doesn't matter how deep you go. 2, bend the elbows. You're going to bring the knees down towards the armpits more. Keep breathing. And it's okay if you're still rocking. 3, even though you're bending the elbows, try to keep the hips down. It comes a bit deeper. 4, now hold that strength and breathe. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, release your pose, hug your legs, rock up into a seated position. And you could take a break there or vinyasa. Inhale, pick up. Exhale, step or jump back in lower chaturanga. Full inhales every time. And full exhales every time. Gaze forward, bend the knees. We're going to come down to all fours and do our preparation for headstand. So if you're not taking headstand, you're just doing preparation. And it's normal. Some people who are learning headstand, sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. That's normal when you're finding it, just because your balance is off. It's on and off from day to day. It all depends. It's okay to stay in prep if you're off balance today, but if you're on balance, go ahead and play with it, and it's okay to use a wall. That's not cheating. That's a step until you gain independence completely. That's all. It's not going to be there forever. Interlace your fingers, squeeze the elbows in. You want the forearms to be parallel. And then drop the crown of the head down between the hands. Prep pose, you curl the back toes under, straighten your legs, and hold here. That's all you do. If you can go ahead and lift up, go ahead. Otherwise, you stay here and prep. That's one. The point of staying in preparation is to adjust your eyes and ears to being upside down. 2, keep the weight in your forearms, contain your rib cage. 3, Bandha 2-step, belly in, lift your pelvic floor. 4, then extend the feet away from your hips. 5, forearms down, rib cage in, tail and feet up. 6, 7, stay with your breath. 8, 9, and 10. If you can lower down to pike, go ahead. Otherwise, you can stay up in headstand for 5. That's 1. Long legs, super strong legs. 2, relax your face, keep breathing. 3, Bandha 2-step, belly and lift your pelvic floor. 4. And 5. If you can, go ahead, inhale back up for 1 breath. And whenever you're ready, you can start to bring your legs back down and take a very comfortable child's pose. There's no count in balasana in your child's pose. Total rest. Hold there and breathe. Allow the head and shoulders to roll forward and heavy. So this whole area is making space. And again, if you want to get some deeper stretch in your lower back, curl the tail down towards your feet. Every time you inhale, open up the back side of the rib cage like it's a sail. And when you exhale, let that sail soften down the spine. And slowly working your way back up. Just step your hands forward, step your feet back, and lower into chaturanga. Full inhales, upward dog. It doesn't matter if you're off my count here. Full exhales, downward dog. Gaze forward, bend the knees, coming forward into a seated position. And we'll do our 3 lotuses to close the class. So if you can take full lotus, go ahead. Otherwise, just take a comfortable cross-legged position. If you can catch the elbows behind your back, go ahead and fold forward. If you can bind your feet, go ahead and fold forward. But if this action is uncomfortable, bring the hands in front of you, or you can stack your fists, rest your head on top of the fists. Just be comfortable in a cross-legged forward bend. That's all it is. Don't overthink it. 1, head and shoulders are still rolling forward and heavy. You still counterpose your headstand. 2, breathe in the backside of the rib cage. 3, the lungs are at their biggest extent in the back side, so you really want to open up the breath here. 4, filling up the back of the lungs, taking in lots of oxygen. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Slowly work your way back up. Take chin mudra, index fingers to the thumbs, backs the hands, the fronts of the knees. If you're comfortable with your hands in your lap, then go ahead and take this pose. Karmic point's the same. Breathe. 1, press your legs down, hold the belly in, now grow tall away from the foundation of your legs. 2, try to press the backs of the hands against your knees, straighten the arms, extending your chest up to the ceiling. 3, full breath in. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Release the gaze, release the mudra, prepare for uplitti. If you want to bring in blocks to help you lift up, go ahead. Wherever you are, try to lift your knees up towards the chest. Try to keep the knees there. And then inhale, lift up, hold there. 1, knees up to your chest. 2, push away from the floor like it's hot. 3, tail up to your chest. 4, belly and lift your pelvic floor, bandhas. 5, thighs to your stomach. 6, knees to your chest again. 7, lift up, don't drop. 8, lift up, lift your pelvic floor up. 9, tail up. And 10, and lowering down. Well done. And you can take one last vinyasa, just step your hands forward, step your feet back, and lower down into chaturanga. Full inhales every time, and it doesn't matter if you're off my count. If you want to hold upward dog for a couple of breaths, go ahead, resolving whatever you need to on the front side of the body. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and move into downward dog. And same thing there, just stay there for a couple of breaths if you need, resolve whatever you need to on the back side of the body. And then gaze forward, bend the knees, coming forward into a seated position, and lie down on your backs to take rest. It's totally fine if you want to bring a book by the head as a pillow, just to lengthen the back of your neck. You can bring the hands behind the head, lift your hips up, squeeze the elbows and lift your head. And you're only relaxing the head. Everything else is staying engaged. You're just relaxing the head to allow it to come down softly along the cervical vertebrae. If you want to start with cactus arms, just to find the shoulder blades in place, then work your arms straight, go ahead. And then allow your hips to lower. Once your hips come down, you can strain your legs, moving the tail towards the front of the mat. And we'll be here for about 2.5 minutes. I'll just play something off my speaker from my phone. Allowing your body to rest completely. Surrendering your body to gravity 100%. Your body should feel like a stone that's been plunged into the middle of a pond. So every time you exhale, your body sinks deep into that pond, moving deeper and deeper into a state of relaxation. And bringing the awareness back to your breath. Start taking deeper breaths. Bringing the awareness back into your body. Start moving fingers and toes. Rotate wrists and ankles. Slowly bringing the legs back together, the arms up behind the head. On an inhale, come into a big stretch through the arms, legs, fingers, toes, reach. And exhale, just let it go. Bending your knees, rolling onto your right side. Use the right arm like a pillow. Bring the left hand on the floor in front of your chest. Stay there for a couple of breaths. Maybe enjoying some of the dust bunnies around you. The joys of home practice. And then push into your left hand, come up to a comfortable seated position. Namaste. Thanks for joining me today in practice. Thank you, Laura May, who suggested we do some more backbends. She wanted to play with that. And I think that's a very smart idea because we spend a lot of time doing forward folds. So we have to counter that just to create a sense of equilibrium and balance in the body. And there's never going to be perfect balance. We're trying to create some semblance of that. I'm going to be back on again on Sunday at 9 a.m. If anybody has any questions or any suggestions or any comments, please feel free to send me a personal message, or if you want to leave a message in the comments, that's fine too. And I'll try to address that in the next class. Thanks for joining me this morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. We'll see you next time.